smoked rack of pork. And it's not any pork, it's Iberico. We'd like to thank ChefsTemp and their new ProTemp S1 for sponsoring today's video. It's a 4-rib rack. What I'm going to do is put a little bit of this Dijon mustard on here for my binder. It doesn't take a lot, right? We are going to season it with some barbecue rub. I'm going to use this Everglades cactus dust. I know several of you have heard me say this before. I'm eating keto. It has very, very low sugar content in it. Just want to get all the sides seasoned up. You don't need to use this Everglades rub. Just choose your favorite pork rub. Because the real magic today is we're going to make a glaze for this guy. It's going to be awesome. Let's go get the grill ready. Our grill is up to temp. It's about 248. I'm going to cook around 250. And then you can see I put a probe in this rack of pork and it's 34 degrees. You can see there's our probe. I really like this. This is a new setup that the ChefsTemp folks sent me out in here. Now some folks say you shouldn't use sassafras. If you don't think you should, don't use it. Put the plate center in because we want to smoke this guy. Indirect heat. Get our grill grate on. And our rack of pork on. Get this lid down. Now to monitor the temperature of this rack of pork, I'm going to use the new ChefsTemp S1 ProTemp. All right, so I'm going to set up a cook here, right? Tap to set up the cook. I'm going to use pork. I'm going to use chops. Now you can set it to whatever you want. I'm going to set this to 140. You see here, just by clicking the doneness, you can see a scale if you're not sure. All right, so let's start this cook. It'll calculate it. Now I'm going to set up some alerts, right? You can see on this page, before I set the alert up, I went into the settings. You can see it's in Fahrenheit, and you can get the notifications on your phone. I want to know when the internal temp gets up to 120, because that's when I want to start thinking about glazing it. So I'll add that alert. So we've got our target in cook of 140. I do want it to go to 145, but the temperature will creep up a few degrees in the end. I really like this big display. It's so easy to see. And this guy, it takes less than 5 minutes to install. Your old thermometer that was on here, it's got a wing nut on the back. You just take the wing nut off. It fits right on this one. 1 cup balsamic vinegar. Then I'm coming in with 1/3 cup of soy sauce. What I've got here, 1.5 teaspoons, well, it just got covered up, of dried garlic powder and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm going to come in with about 3/4 teaspoon of this chuvia, right? It'll give us a little sweetness, and it's keto. Then we're just going to give it a mix, kind of get that garlic, salt, and pepper all mixed in, and move it over to our grill. Let's get this lid up, put it back here, get this lid back down. Our pork has hit that 120 mark. The alarm just went off. Now this sauce is a little thin. You could take it off, put it in a pan, heat it up, thicken it up. I actually want it to be a very thin glaze, so I'm going to leave it this, I'm going to avoid that step. Just leave it thin like this. What I'll do is come in here, we'll paint a couple of coats. Paint one now. Get the lid back down. In a few minutes we'll put another coat on there. So we've hit that 140 degrees, and then here on the app you can see the same thing. We've hit the 140. Elapsed time, total cook time, 1 hour 38 minutes. See, our alarm's going off. That's what I set it for, 140 if you'll recall in the beginning. I am going to hit it with the glaze one more time. And what I'll do is I'll put this lid back down. We've got the 140. I'll let it go maybe 142. Then we'll take it off and let it rest. It's probably not even been 5 more minutes. This pork is probing 143. So we're going to get it off here and let it rest. While this pork is resting, we're going to take this remaining glaze, bring it to a boil, then simmer for about 15 minutes so we have a dipping sauce. This rack of pork's been resting here 15 minutes. Got a beautiful color to it. We're going to cut into it. So I'm going to turn this guy over so we can see what we're doing here. Here's the bones. Here are the bones, I should say. Almost got it cut. Falling apart, it's so tender. You can see around the edge here we've got a little bit of a smoke ring. That's where our thermometer was. Look at that. Look how juicy that pork is. You can see the moisture there, all in it. So I'm going to move this guy over. I'm going to cut off a piece for this taste test. You can see how tender it is. Here we go. Pork doesn't get any more tender than that. And you get the tanginess from that balsamic glaze. Absolutely incredible. This new S1 really makes keeping an eye on the temperature and knowing when you want to glaze, makes it so easy.